Hello and welcome to another edition of our special election series, The Dhabas of Democracy. This is a road trip that we began in Kanyakumari and we're headed by road to Kashmir. Our travels take us to different corners of the country. In fact, today, as you can see behind me, I'm in a village where the people are quite eager to express their opinion on what has happened today. It's been a voting day in this village in Uttar Pradesh. We're in the district of Kannauj. Akhilesh Yadav is among the leaders who's contesting from here. And right after this program, we hope to be talking to all of the people, the crowds that are gathering behind me as we broadcast live to you from on the road in Uttar Pradesh. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. Ever since the campaign began, you have seen the Dhabas of Democracy take you through different states of India. We have brought you the voices of the people from the ground because we believe in placing the voices of people first. But we've also brought you the voices of key newsmakers and also analysis of all of the big developments of the day. Phase 4 of voting has taken place today, and the subject of turnout has been a big talking point. Will that be the case even today? Among the places that voted today were parts of Kashmir, including Srinagar. You can see those pictures there, and we will be looking at the turnout pictures, turnout numbers, I beg your pardon, in just a moment from now. But remember, it does take time for those turnout numbers to be finalized. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, as usual, the master of the photo of the Prime Minister, has been pictured actually serving langar at Patna Sahib. He even made the rotis himself as he served langar. And that is going to be one of the defining images of today that we'll be looking at. Arvind Kejriwal is out on bail, but controversy has followed him. Today, the Delhi police let it be known that one of his members of parliament, Swati Maliwal, had made a phone call from his residence alleging assault by one of his key aides, his private secretary. We have no official word from Swati Maliwal, the Delhi police, or indeed from the Aam Aadmi Party. So the details of that story remain a bit hazy. In the meantime, there was also controversy in another part of the country. There was controversy in Telangana with the BJP's Madhavi Lata. She was caught on camera asking women, some of whom were wearing a burqa, to reveal their face so that she could check their IDs. An FIR has been filed against her, and there's been a huge outcry over this video, with many parties urging the Election Commission to act. So there's a lot to talk about. These have been the key developments. The question we're asking today is, after phase 4, is the Prime Minister and Brand Modi ahead of the opposition, or is the BJP on the back foot as the opposition is alleging? Every day you see comments from the opposition saying the tide has turned, the Prime Minister will not be Prime Minister on the 4th of June. Is that wishful thinking, or has something gone on in this election that wasn't elected? Or is the Prime Minister trumping all of his opponents as always and remaining miles ahead of the political communication and the political messaging? Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at all of these developments that are unfolding as we broadcast live to you from a little village in Uttar Pradesh. Dilip Cherian, Master of Communication, Brand Guru, is with us. Welcome to the program. Joining us from the BJP is its spokesperson and leader, Dr. Dharinder Tayal. Welcome to the program, sir. Also joining us is author and analyst, Subrata Srinivas Raju. Always a pleasure, Subrata, to have you with us. And Sanjay Jha, the never say die supporter of the Congress, its suspended spokesperson, who's been making several arguments about where he sees the BJP vote share plummeting, is also with us. So let me actually get the ball rolling by playing out for you a clip of Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi saying that the Prime Minister feels the election is slipping away from him, and therefore in the next 2 or 3 days, there might be what he calls some drama. Take a look and we'll begin the conversation. Okay, I'm waiting for that to come up. There.
देश के युवाओं, नरेंद्र मोदी के हाथ से चुनाव निकल रहा है। वो स्लिप कर रहे हैं और हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री नहीं बनेंगे। उन्होंने डिसीजन ले लिया है कि अगले 4-5 दिन में आपके ध्यान को भटकाना है, कुछ ना कुछ ड्रामा करना है। आपके ध्यान को भटकना नहीं चाहिए। बेरोजगारी सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आपको कहा था कि 2 करोड़ युवाओं को रोजगार देंगे, झूठ बोला, नोटबंदी की, गलत जीएसटी लागू की और सारा का सारा काम अदानी जैसे लोगों के लिए किया है। हम भर्ती भरोसा स्कीम ला रहे हैं। 4 जून को इंडिया गठबंधन की सरकार आ रही है। 15 अगस्त तक भर्ती भरोसा स्कीम में 30 लाख युवाओं को रोजगार देने का काम शुरू हो जाएगा। जय हिंद, नमस्कार।
Let's get the conversation started. Dilip Cherian, I'll start with you. Has the election gone unexpectedly competitive, or is this wishful thinking by the opposition?
At the moment, Barkha, there is very little by way of hard data. Phenomenally to one side or the other. The only thing that most people are clutching onto and analyzing to death is the voting numbers, the turnout percentages. But is there any hard evidence or even anecdotal evidence to suggest that the elections have turned completely? I would I would find it difficult to see anything substantive as yet. Anecdotally, there is stuff saying that the entire scope, the entire narrative is now not as it used to be, led by the BJP. There is also a school of thought which says that the massive cyber attack on schools and the hit on hospitals via emails is a sign of something in the offing. But aside from this, it is very difficult to say that there are substantial signs of change electorally or in terms of what is to be expected. The fact is that everyone knows that after 10 years, a certain volume of anti incumbency is bound to kick in. And the second point that everybody knows is that for the first time, what has been a presidential kind of election in 24 and 19 does not have a one person to attack anymore. The attack is coming from a multiple source of leaders from India Gadbandhan members.
Okay, so according to you, Dilip, in a way, the numbers don't bear out anything. Everything in a way, the conversation and the debate is anecdotal, and it's all centered around the turnout, and everybody has different interpretations of the turnout. But before I open this up, in terms of messaging, there was one comment made by the Prime Minister on Adani Ambani that nobody can quite figure out. Do you have any theories?
I think most people have their theories. My theory is that it is a cry to the only office that matters after June 4th, which is the office of the Chief Justice, to say, hey, you went and snubbed my electoral bond scheme. See what has happened as a result of that. Please don't do anything as inopportune again. That is a non business theory and a more politico legal theory, which I think merits attention.
Okay, we'll take a look at the turnout figures a little later in the program. Sanjay Jha, you've been arguing, one of those Congress supporters who's been arguing that something has shifted, the tide has turned. You saw the pictures out of Bihar today, the Prime Minister serving langar, bellowing the rotis, right? These are the images that will stay with a lot of people. Even in the village that I'm in Uttar Pradesh, it's just Kannauj, where Akhilesh Yadav is contesting. But behind me, I was talking to these people before the program started. They're all Modi voters. Now we don't know what's going to happen. This might be just one village in Kannauj, we don't know. What gives you the confidence that something has shifted, Sanjay?
Barkha, good evening. I will disagree with Dilip actually in entirety for two reasons. Number one, yes, we don't have hard data. So obviously the conversation does become anecdotal. If you talk about the lower voter turnout, the opposition will say it means the BJP voter, the loyalist hasn't come out to vote because they are disillusioned. And the BJP will say, we are a cadre driven party and our guys always vote. And the Congress and the others have a lot to worry about. So let's not get into the realms of that speculation. The simple reason to understand why this election is up in the air, Barkha, is the narrative. You see, the narrative of this election is a very desperate prime minister making some very outrageous remarks, which basically betray a lack of confidence. And I'll tell you that not because I'm wearing a Congress hat or whatever. The truth is that Mr. Modi has become literally the brand ambassador of the Congress manifesto, which is now holding center stage. If you look at the video that you just played out, Rahul Gandhi has used the opportunity again and again to re-emphasize the Mahalakshmi scheme, the guarantee to the young, the 5 or 6 principal features that appeal to the farmers on the MSP, that talk about Manrega, that talk about minimum wages at rupees 400, everything that Mr. Modi once championed. You remember Mr. Modi's old comment, right? I have a caste which includes farmers, women, the poor, and the youth. And that agenda is now with the Rahul Gandhi in the India Alliance. Mr. Modi is now holding center stage, trying to basically divert attention from his very famous hate speech. Mr. Modi made a hate speech. Let's not even try and, kind of debate that point. I believe in an election that so far we have seen this Congress is a Rahul Gandhi who's the agenda. It's a Congress's manifesto, which is the narrative. It's a BJP which is playing catch up. And when Prime Minister Modi has to even make a statement, and you asked a very pertinent question about Ambani Adani, which, by the way, the Congress has used as the bugbear to get Mr. Modi from time to time, that tells you that there is an extreme reaction from him because he's worried.
But Sanjay, you're also being subjective, right? The point is, this is all subjective right now. You're decoding the Prime Minister's speeches to make the argument that he's nervous. So it's an anecdotal argument. It's not an empirical argument. Quickly, I want to go to the others.
Yeah, just one quick point. It is not anecdotal because that's a fact that you can see. All of us keep saying, what's the narrative? Narendra Modi, as the Prime Minister, is fully aware that whether he talks anything very eloquent and masterful, which is, by the way, very rare, or he makes very subpar and ridiculous and obtuse statements, which is frequent, it does become the narrative headline. So the bottom line is, why is he making statements that are making people wonder as to what's up with the Prime Minister? That tells you that there is a trend which is playing out.
Before I come to Dr. Dhirendra Tayal of the BJP, we also have had Arvind Kejriwal come out on. There's a new controversy with him, which we'll come to in just in a little later in the program. But Arvind Kejriwal was asked, "Are you a prime ministerial candidate of the India Alliance?" And he set the cat among the pigeons by suggesting that the BJP should talk about who their prime minister will be, because wasn't Mr. Modi going to step aside when he turns 75? Take a look at this statement, Dhirendra ji, and then I'll come to you right after that.
ये लोग इंडिया गठबंधन से पूछते हैं, आपका प्रधानमंत्री कौन होगा? मैं बीजेपी से पूछता हूं, आपका प्रधानमंत्री कौन होगा? आप लोग सोच रहे होंगे केजरीवाल क्या बात कर रहा है, मोदी जी होंगे। नहीं, मोदी जी अगले साल 17 सितंबर को 75 साल के हो रहे हैं। बीजेपी के अंदर मोदी जी ने 2014 में मोदी जी ने खुद ने रूल बनाया था कि बीजेपी के अंदर जो भी 75 साल का होगा उसको रिटायर कर दिया जाएगा। सबसे पहले आडवाणी जी को रिटायर किया गया, उसके बाद मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी को रिटायर किया गया, फिर सुमित्रा महाजन को रिटायर किया गया, फिर यशवंत सिन्हा को रिटायर किया गया। अब मोदी जी अगले साल 17 सितंबर को रिटायर होने वाले हैं। तो मैं बीजेपी से पूछना चाहता हूं, आपका प्रधानमंत्री का दावेदार कौन है? दोस्तों, अगले साल 17 सितंबर तक अगर इनकी सरकार बनी, तो उस पर भी आऊंगा मैं, अगर इनकी सरकार बनी तो पहले अगले 2 महीने में योगी जी को निपटाएंगे ये, और उसके बाद मोदी जी के सबसे खास अमित शाह को ये प्रधानमंत्री बनाएंगे।
And Amit Shah has responded. It's only fair that I play out that comment as well. Let's listen to him and we'll come to Dhirinder ji, Sugata and Shriram. Welcome to the program. Take a look at Amit Shah.
आप प्रधानमंत्री होंगे?
देखिए, मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल एंड कंपनी और पूरे इंडिया अलायंस को कहना चाहता हूं, मोदी जी 75 साल के हो जाए, इससे आपको आनंदित होने की जरूरत नहीं है। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के संविधान में कहीं नहीं लिखा है। मोदी जी ही ये टर्म पूरी करेंगे और मोदी जी ही आगे देश का नेतृत्व करते रहेंगे। इसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी में कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है। ये कंफ्यूजन खड़ा करना चाहिए।
अमित शाह जी।
Okay, Dr. Dharinder Tyal, the fact is Amit Shah responded to Arvind Kejriwal. The AAP would argue that it's very rare. Usually the BJP sets the agenda and the other parties respond. This was one moment when it is the BJP responding. What do you say?
Thank you, Barkha. I think the sentence that Sanjay Jha started with, where he surprised the entire country by saying that there is a sense of desperation, where a lack of confidence and sense of desperation with Mr. Modi. Now, I mean, his worst detractors are not going to believe that is something you cannot pin on Mr. Modi. But that is what is coming out from Kejriwal. Because now he has just come out of jail and there is something he's got to say. There is some, like a word which was used by Rahul Gandhi, there is some drama to be created. So that is a drama he created, and Amit Shah has responded very candidly, very clearly. So there are no ifs and buts there. So that part is settled. There is no issue there. Also, what was said, because I'm just talking about the drama part, it is the Congress which desperately needs drama now and then. Take, for example, something as ridiculous as a former chief minister of Congress saying that the attack which happened on the IAF personnel was staged. There could not be anything more shameful than that, but that was the drama. And then they also got their star drama player from the US to repeatedly come and play some dramas, leak out their internal secrets. But when Sam Petroda was here, finally, when they saw that they could not distance themselves any longer, then they had to ease him out. So the drama is there. BJP does not need to do the drama. If you're looking at what are the numbers saying, there is one place I look for. I mean, may not be very legit, but there are people who are putting their money where their mouth is. And that is the Satta Bazaar. So anybody can keep talking anything. It is cheap. Talk is cheap. But are you putting your money where your mouth is? And what is the Satta Bazaar saying? So they're talking about BJP alone at 330. So that is another point that I'd like to make. The other point, huge point, which was made was that the BJP is talking about the Congress manifesto. Of course we are, because it is such a ridiculous document. It's a document that has been prepared thinking, humne kaun sa sarkar banani hai, so let us say whatever we want to say. Couple of examples. One example, they say we are going to give 1 lakh of rupees to every household. There are 32 crore households in this country. So you're talking about 32 lakh crores being given. The total revenue, 35 lakh crores. Okay, I'd leave out Sanjay Jha is surprised. So I'll leave out some of those. Maybe Sanjay Jha is not getting any, I'm not getting any, you are not getting any. So let us cut those out. We are still talking about somewhere around 22, 24 crores households, right? So is that of the total revenue, are you going to give this money there? You obviously cannot. Then what kind of a document are we talking about? So it is a document, like, to repeat, where one is saying, "Mujhe to sarkar banani nahi, main kuch bhi bol dunga. It will all pass through. Doesn't make a difference. Let Modi handle it. Modi is there for handling these things."
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi spoke about कि Modi ji ने बेरोजगारी का कुछ नहीं किया. And again, the data is with us. I mean, I've said this earlier, I'm saying this again. The country has a GDP of about $3.7 trillion, growing at about 6.7%, which means additional production of about 2 lakh crores. Who did it? Obviously, some people have joined the workforce to have produced.
So Dr. Tyal, you are talking about Rahul's speeches. They're talking about Modi's speeches. The opposition. I mean, objectively, Sugata, what's going on? What is actually going on? Before I come to Sriram about Madhvi Lata and the controversy created in Hyderabad today, there's been a controversy in every party. The BJP has had its shares of controversies in Hyderabad. The AAP is having its shares of controversies. JDS has had Prajwal Revanna, right? Rahul, the Congress has had Sam Petroda. This is like normal for election season. But in real terms, has this election turned out to be surprising, or is this election still a done deal with Modi in pole position, as was assumed when this campaign started?
Thank you, Barkha. Actually, two things. I was just looking at my notes from 2019, Barkha, journalistically speaking. And I was looking at all that I had written, all that I had spoken, and all the numbers and the narratives at play. In fact, the elections then in 2019 was equally combative. In fact, it was a little more, the Congress was as aggressive as it has become after the second phase. So, I don't see a lot of difference between the kind of aggression that you saw in 2019 when Rahul Gandhi was directly calling Modi a chore, Chaukidar chore hai. So that kind of extreme rhetoric was being used then as well. And so now, if you cut to 2024, see, some may interpret it as desperation, but I think it's a game to dominate the narrative. Congress has come a long way when in its communication, in trying to dominate the social media space. So, but we should ask ourselves if this kind of a domination is only in the media and in the social media space or out there in the street. And if you look at the numbers, because a lot of my co-panelists spoke about numbers, let's not look at turnouts. Let's not look at anything that is anecdotal or empirical. Just look at the margins of victory, Barkha, in the previous election. Most of these seats, you look at a 25%, 23% margin that is there. So even if you cut down on those margins, I think BJP, yes, a lot of people say that they're on the back foot. They may not actually sort of cross the 300 mark or the 270 mark. And then, there's a lot of these things being put into the minds of people. So the most important phrase that is doing the rounds is the election has turned. I don't know where that is coming from, Barkha. Honestly speaking,
Dilip said in the beginning also that he asked the same question. Where is it coming from? So one of the places it's coming from, let me attempt to answer it. One of the places it's coming from is the turnout figures of the first three phases. 3 or 4 points lower than the last election. That's one of the places where it's coming from. The other place where it's coming from is the Prime Minister pivoting in a way to speeches that are, very Hindu-Muslim oriented, some are befuddling like Adani, Ambani. These are the places I guess it's coming from. I don't know, Sanjay can explain better, but I'm imagining that's where it's coming from. Sanjay, you want to add to that? Where is it coming from, Sanjay?
I'll answer that. I'll tell you why I disagree with what Sugata said. By that logic, the only way that the BJP will ever get defeated is if there is an equal and more margin for the opposition. And I'll tell you why that is a flawed argument. Number one, there is another alternative way to look at it, that already in the assembly elections after the 2019, the BJP shares post the Lok Sabha, and if you look at the state elections, had shrunk dramatically. And one of the best ways to understand the public mood is to look at what you did in the last election and not just the last Lok Sabha election, because that was 5 years ago. In the last 5 years, the Congress is different, Rahul Gandhi is different, issues are very different. So that's one factor. The second factor also, please remember that when elections are fought, you live in the moment. You can't just say that this is what happened 5 years ago, etc., etc. The Congress came down from 206 in 2009 to 44 seats in 2014, and his vote share came down from 28 to whatever 20%. Okay. So my logic is that when the vote goes against you, Barkha, or it goes in favor of your opposition, the margins just tend to dissipate for various reasons.
Let Sugata complete his point, and then Sriram Kari, and then we'll have another round of everybody. Yeah, Sugata. Yeah.
You know, I brought in the margins argument only because we don't have any other data which is credible. That's the only thing. That's the bottom line. I completely agree with Sanjay that if there is a swing election, margins will go down. But are we really seeing that kind of a swing and a wave at the ground level? I really don't think so. You know, because
I mean, the only wave, it's been said often, but it bears repetition. The only wave is the heat wave. It bears repetition. The only wave, but again, I should say, Sugata, there may not be a visible surge for the BJP, but there is absolutely no visible anger against the BJP. When we say it's not a wave election, both things have to be said and acknowledged. There is no huge anger against the BJP. I want to just bring in Sriram for one comment. But Sriram, meanwhile, in your home city, Hyderabad, Madhavi Lata, the BJP candidate against Asad Owaisi, sparked controversy today when she walked into a polling booth and asked for women to reveal their faces so she could match those faces against their IDs. An FIR has been filed. I'll just play out that clip and then get your comment on overall on what's happening. Take a look.
ये तो 38 है, अब 38 लिखा है, उठाइए आप। ये कौन है? आप कौन है? आपका दूसरा आधार कार्ड है आपका? हाँ, ये चल रहा है। पहले बनाई से कितने साल पहले बना था ये?
So Sriram, should she have been doing this, and how is it playing out locally in Hyderabad? Briefly on this, and then on the overall picture in the south. Oops, can we mute Sriram while I'm speaking? How is this playing out? Is she going to get into trouble? And then the big political picture. The Prime Minister has been naming Telangana as one of the states that the BJP expects.
Thank you, Barkha. I always begin answering your questions with a little bit of protest about this colonial kind of categorization that I am good enough only to answer Hyderabad-based questions.
No, you're the only one who can tell us about Hyderabad.
No. This whole Mr. Jha is good enough to explain the entire Asian politics to us. But since I'm in Hyderabad, मैं दक्षिण भारतीय हूँ तो मुझे बस आप हैदराबाद का सवाल पूछेंगे
ऐसा कुछ नहीं सर अरे सर
Barkha, I'm also very intrigued by the funny part which everybody else failed to observe, that the BJP leader said that he follows the Satta Bazaar. I don't know if there's illegal market and economy and gambling and cash economy going on in the Modi era. In the last 10 years, I thought all of them are gone. And it's very interesting if you play the Satta Bazaar and you're saying that, sir, or even know what the rates are. I don't know what is Satta Bazaar, and I don't think anything illegal happens in the last 10 years of this kind, organized betting racket, etc. Maybe it happens in other countries, but it's illegal in India and doesn't happen. Anyway, Barkha, two aspects. One is this is not a single term, the second term anti-incumbency, if there is any. I believe the Congress better organized. Don't forget last time also Mr. Modi had 40% vote, and that was enough to give him 300 seats. Can you tell me anything to say that a typical Modi voter will not vote for Modi again or BJP again? Have you sensed that anti-incumbency? There were always people who opposed Mr. Modi. Even Putin, he got 31, 32%. So a lot of people are opposed to Modi, and they are visible and they're better organized on social media. But I haven't met too many.
Are you saying Sriram, that those who loved Modi continue to do so, and those who did not like Modi continue to do so? There are people who shift their vote, and those are the people who hold the key to this election, Sriram Kari.
Absolutely, new voters. I looked at those categories. New voters, have they moved away from BJP? The young voters. There is a set 5 years population changes, 10 years changes a lot, but I haven't seen too much of factual data to suggest a broad shift, any big support pillar of Mr. Modi. Certain transitions they'll square off. Second reason I still believe is the remaining 60%, that is non-Modi, has come together better, is able to make itself felt. Third, I definitely agree that the entire narrative, the monopoly BJP had on the narrative, doesn't feel like it because of one reason. 2014 was one nation, one issue. Loss of confidence in UPA. All problems are because of Congress, and there's one solution: Modi Sarkar. In 2019, it was a very bold leader who took broad decisions like demonetization, GST. We could trust him, and there are bigger things he had to do: Ram Temple, Article 360, and the Pulwama Balakot. Point is, the whole country felt it was looking like one nation, one election in the narrative sense. This time, it's looking like some of the parts. In Telangana, we are not feeling the sense of what's happening in Karnataka. In wherever I have little traveled.
But Srirams, look at this comment coming in on our audience stream. This time the Congress has won on social media, but the BJP is still far ahead on the ground.
Very possible. Please, I am again saying this, just because Congress is caught up on the social media and the fact that its manifesto is being discussed more is no basis to believe the core BJP Modi voter has turned against the BJP.
Okay, can I ask you about Telangana? Not to pinhole you in Telangana, but the rest of us don't know enough about Telangana. Telangana has been mentioned by the Prime Minister as a state where he expects the BJP to improve. The last time, if I'm not wrong from memory, the BJP got 4 seats, and that was better than the Congress performance. Today, you have a Congress in the state government. Do you expect the BJP, and you called that election right before anybody else, do you expect the BJP to make gains in Telangana? Yes or no? You can also say, I don't know.
No, I'll say I know. I'll know exactly. I'll give you the numbers. BRS got 9 out of 17 last time. They are getting 0 this time. So those 9 seats are being taken by Congress, which had 3, and BJP, which had 4. Both Congress and BJP will rise. So though while BJP gains, Congress gains, net, there will be no difference. In fact, the only state in India, and I'm going on record of Barkha saying this, the only place where BJP will gain meaningfully, which will make an overall difference to the tally in the country for the NDA, besides Andhra Pradesh, where they have a new partner who was not there with them in 2019, was in 14, is Odisha. Odisha is where BJP is making substantial gains.
Okay. Now let's take a quick round across the panel.
And what Madhavilata did was terrible. Shouldn't have done that.
Okay. The Election Commission is cognizant of it, hasn't intervened, but an FIR has been filed locally. Let's go to Dilip Cherian. The Kejriwal factor. There's a new controversy with Kejriwal today. Nobody is speaking on record, but Kejriwal did manage to introduce this 75-year debate with people making, quips about Ab Ki Baar 75 par. At the same time, today he's had this headline eruption with Maliwal, who has not spoken for herself. We're only going by what's come in the media. Does this matter? What do you make of it, and what do you make of the Kejriwal factor? Dilip Cherian.
I think jailing Kejriwal was as much an error of political judgment as releasing him in political terms. I'm not talking of the legal side. Second, I think Kejriwal is making a huge difference to the kind of voting enthusiasm among Delhi citizens. I don't know how much it's going to affect Punjab, but in Delhi, he's having an impact on the ground in terms of what I would call ground level chatter in Delhi has increased in favor of Kejriwal, and you can sense it across the board. Does it translate into a huge number of seats? Any seat is a victory, because last time the BJP had all the seats of Delhi. So the question is, will Kejriwal's release have made a difference to the electoral tally in Delhi, and will he make a sortie into Punjab? I don't know. But I think in Delhi, it's going to make an impact.
Narinder ji? I'm sure you have a take on the impact of the Aam Aadmi Party. Punjab, where you live, the BJP wanted an alliance with the Akalis. It didn't happen. The Congress and AAP are in alliance in Delhi, but not in Punjab. In fact, they're going hammer and tongs at each other in Punjab. What do you think of the Kejriwal factor?
I really don't think it's going to be so much of a factor, because today the rumor going around is that whether Maan himself is in the control of Kejriwal or not, because Maan seems to be having his own ambitions around the place. So what that is going to do to the Aam Aadmi Party certainly remains to be seen. So I really won't read too much into that. And there are people who are, kind of waiting in the wings for all that. So that is one part. The second thing, something which was being said, about the general elections in general. Now, if you rewind and go back to 2014 and 19 also, you would find the same thing was being said. BJP is going down, BJP is going down, BJP is going down. It didn't happen. So the same thing, the same narrative is being played out. And if we look at the numbers which are being talked about, how the numbers are playing, then in the first phase, the voter turnout fall was close to 4%. In the second phase, it dropped, but it was close to 3% drop. In the third phase, it is about 1.6% drop, which means there is a huge drop in the drop. So, which means the numbers are coming back, and I don't really see why that question has been asked, why the drop always means BJP is losing out. The other thing which I really want to address is something which Sanjay Jha had said, that you don't want to look at the previous Lok Sabha election, you want to look at the previous election. Now, there could not be something more fallacious than that. And Dilip will bear me out because I'm going to talk from marketing. The product changes. When you're talking Lok Sabha, the product you are selling to the consumer is actually 80% party and 20% candidate. In a municipal election, it reverses. You are kind of talking 80% candidate and 20% party. And in the Vidhan Sabha, you're somewhere in between, say 50-50. It is the party and the candidate both. So to try and extrapolate the result of the Vidhan Sabha onto the Lok Sabha just doesn't work, because take the case of Delhi. BJP sweeps Lok Sabha and Aam Aadmi Party gets the Vidhan Sabha.
That's a fair question. I want to put Sanjay Jha. By the way, the turnout figures, I should say, this is only as of 3 p.m. The updated turnout figures are not out. Please don't. This looks like a dip, but it's only till 3 p.m. We're waiting for all the numbers to come up so we can come out of these figures now, because they actually create confusion. Sanjay Jha, it's a very good question from Dharinder Tayal. Delhi votes totally differently in assembly and totally different in Lok Sabha. So you can't use the election data to extrapolate, right? If you're going to talk turnout, maybe phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 was less. Phase 4 so far looks like it's been much better turnout. So this is a kind of, a dangerous sort of position to take. And what do you say, Sanjay? Again, I come back to what is the basis. I think Sugata and Dilip have both asked this. What is the basis to believe something different is happening?
Okay, let me explain to you very quickly, Barkha. Number one, this election is not become a national issue-based election. Local issues are coming more significantly into play. Point number one. Point number two, the gentleman from Hyderabad kept talking about the die-hard voters. Yes, there are die-hard voters of the BJP and the Congress, etc. But India is not like America, with the red and blue states. We have large floating voters. And that swing voter is a humongous population, which is why I come to the third point and I will address the issue of the lower voter turnout. The lower voter turnout becomes significant, Barkha, because we make a very simplistic assumption. Let me explain it to you. That if the gap between the BJP and the Congress in the last election was 2 lakhs, we tend to believe that the Congress has to win 2 lakh and 1 vote to beat the BJP. That is wrong, because politics is a zero-sum game. And with now in this election, one party versus the other, my gain is somebody else's loss and somebody else's gain is my loss. So if the gap is 2 lakhs, the Congress has to win 1 lakh plus 1 vote to defeat the BJP. So end of day, there is this very...
but by the same logic, the BJP has margins. But by the same logic, if you're going to talk margins, the BJP has a wide margin within which it can fall and still form the government.
No, let me tell you basically why the worry for the BJP. The voter turnout coming down means that the margin that the opposition needs to defeat the BJP becomes much easier. And because end of day, there is a momentum with the opposition, and Mr. Modi actually at this election is not fighting on anything to do with his 10 years of achievement. His entire claim to this election is that defeat the Congress because he
Okay,
will take your
that is
gas
a
away.
fair, that is your last point is fair. Mr. Tayal had one fair point, you have one fair point. It's an election without a national issue. Both Sriram and Sugata have their hands up. Sugata first, then Sriram. Go ahead, Sugata.
Yeah, Barkha, there may be, this whole thing about it's not a national election, there's no national issues. I don't think that is correct. The national issue is the Ram temple, which is in the backdrop. And Modi himself represents a certain kind of a national, issue or a problem. So, so that aside, the other thing that you asked about Kejriwal, I think that is a very interesting thing. What I noticed, Barkha, was even when he was in jail, I did see a lot of demonstrations on the streets of Delhi. And the leaders who were outside, were quite divided because, Kejriwal's wife was trying to take over the mantle of the of Kejriwal. I think Kejriwal has been extremely distrusting of his own people, which I don't think has gone down well with the leadership of the Aam Aadmi Party. So we don't know how all that would play out. And Kejriwal, please remember, was the original polarizer. So he is known for his shock capsules. Even before Modi arrived on the scene, it was Kejriwal who had learned to polarize Indian newsrooms and Indian drawing rooms. So Kejriwal has been playing that game for a very long time. And so the moment he stepped out from prison, the first thing he said was Modi may not be trying to throw a shock capsule again over there. So the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party have picked up these lessons, and they are trying to sort of push these shock doctrines across. But the real question is, even if all of that is correct, does the Congress Party have the infrastructure and party organization to capitalize the narrative into a real win? And that is where the aspect of margins come in, Barkha.
Sorry, I had muted myself. By the way, just in case you wonder why I'm being a little shifty, it's so hot that every device heats up every 10 minutes. So we're alternating between different devices while we're hosting the show. So thank you for your patience, but I'm listening carefully to everything. And Sugata said that there wasn't a great upsurge for Kejriwal either. There weren't people coming onto the streets. Some of these tricks are started with the AAP and then came to the BJP and not the other way around. Sriram, your take? And then we'll do another round of from our panel.
Sanjay, the name of the gentleman from Hyderabad is Sri Ram. It's a reasonably good name and shouldn't be easy to remember. I mean, hard to remember. Sri Ram. I don't know why it's so hard to remember that. No. I'm just saying. That was Sanjay said, the gentleman from Hyderabad.
I think Sanjay, you want to say something? Sanjay? Unmute Sanjay, please.
I want to tell Mr. Sriram, don't be presumptuous. I actually happen to be dyslexic with names. So kindly don't assume that it is personal. You are being highly presumptuous.
Okay. Chalo. Let's not fight. Chalo, let's come back on point. Sriram.
Thank you, Sanjay. I made a note of that. Barkha, the point of what are we feeling and why are we feeling what we are feeling? I think somebody must tell this right on camera. One, in 22 odd years, while you may say every elections we feel it, I think for the first time people are getting a sense, not necessarily very logically, factually based on numbers, but a sense that perhaps Mr. Modi has never been vulnerable before a big election like this time. This is a feeling. In all fairness, the opposition's hope seems they're convinced that they have the best chance of not defeating Mr. Modi, but preventing him from getting a majority. Some of them say he'll get 250, 260. Some say 220, 230 with different numbers. This is the Congress BJP bloc. This is UP. This is South. In South, again, you have Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka separate. These are the number of seats they're losing. These are the states they're gaining. Net numbers game, we can talk about it. I think the opposition is better organized and has not made the mistakes of attacking Mr. Modi directly. So even when they're accusing the government of being corrupt, they're saying Modi ji has given money to Ambani Adani. Nobody's saying he has taken money from Ambani Adani. So the mistakes you shouldn't make while taking on Mr. Modi, the opposition through its own hard way has learnt it and understood it. And there's a fair degree of opposition unity without being so united as to hurt its own cause. So I think this is the best, closest fight you're seeing between a Modi-led BJP. And don't forget, for the first time in the last 30 days, what you have not seen in the last 12 years, Mr. Modi is talking about an NDA government. When he's very confident it is Modi Sarkar, then it becomes BJP Sarkar. It's
Okay.
NDA. So and the fact that the BJP has failed to find salience of its issues like uniform civil code, one nation, one election, as opposed to that real or imagined issues of the Congress like inheritance tax, Sam Petroda, Mani Shankar Iyer. If BJP feels they need Sam Petroda to win this election, it's a fairly good basis for others to feel hopeful. But I still do not see a factual shift of the core Modi vote so substantially as to say. But one thing is sure, June 4th will be more interesting than any other day in the last 15 years.
Okay, that's interestingly put. We have the turnout figures as of 5 p.m. They're much healthier than the first three phases. They're almost inching towards 63% compared to 64%. The seats are different. It was 72 seats last time and 96 seats this time. So Sanjay Jha, you may want to pay attention to that because turnout has been a big thing, a big issue that has been raised by the opposition. Now, before I take final comments, Sugata said the Ram Mandir is there in the background. Now, I'll tell you, Sugata, first I traveled through the south, then I went to the west, then I went to the central India, and now I'm in UP. And even in cradles of the BJP, I am not finding the Ram Mandir emerging as a talking point. Maybe because wo ho gaya hai. Maybe it's been assimilated as in a cultural sort of way, I don't know. But uski baat koi nahi kar raha. The other thing is the Prime Minister pivoting to Hindu-Muslim. This is not necessarily going down well with his own voters. I'm not saying that this is going to make them change their mind or vote differently. But just as I went from Bhopal to Delhi to UP, we met one BJP fan in Delhi. He's actually from UP. He lives in Delhi. I want to play out this clip and then I'll take last comments from all of you. Take a look. Talk to somebody who's Mojo Story. Okay, the Mojo Story getting ready to take a selfie with me. I think he's got his phone out. Before you do that, tell me, do you vote in Delhi?
No, actually, I voted in Noida.
You okay?
I am from Noida. Yeah.
So who's आगे in UP?
मेरे ख्याल में तो मोदी ही आगे है।
अच्छा, ये बताइए कि कहा जाता है कि टफ फाइट है इस चुनाव में, जो लग रहा था पहले कि पूरा वन साइडेड होगा, थोड़ा टक्कर कहीं कहीं है, आपको लगता है?
I think in some places there is fight, but for example in Noida it is very one-sided.
And is the factor in UP Modi factor or Yogi factor?
Both. Yeah.
Both?
So yeah, actually, for example, in Kanpur, from where we belong, it is Yogi is more popular than Modi. But yeah, in Noida it's Modi.
Okay, tell me one thing. What do you like best about the Prime Minister, and one thing you'd want him to do differently?
So I think his emphasis on technology and entrepreneurship, that is something I really like.
Yeah.
And of course, I think little bit of subdued religion-based politics is something I would like.
You'd want him to tone down the religion-based
yes,
politics.
exactly.
Very interesting. What's your name, sir?
Chakrapani Mishra.
Chakrapani Mishra says he's an admirer of the Prime Minister, but he wants him to dial down the emphasis on religion.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And that's his wife there taking photographs. You want a photograph? Quickly, take it quickly. And, in our job, you have to also stop for quick photographs before we... What did you eat here, by the way?
Paratha.
What's good about Mulchand Paratha?
Actually, हम लोग तो पहली बार आए हैं. So,
पहली बार मेरा बड़ा पुराना haunt है. चलो, good luck to you. Couldn't help digressing into parathas for just a moment, but to come back to politics very seriously. I'll start with you, Sugata, because you said the Ram Mandir is an issue. I met repeated Modi voters who told me हमारे लिए ये issue नहीं है. We are voting for him because infrastructure, technology, India is strong, India has a better place in the world. हाँ, बहुत अच्छा हुआ मंदिर आ गया, but that's not a factor for us. Last comments, Sugata.
Yeah, no, Barkha, it works. It works differently. It's not an issue certainly because it's over. But you can't let him down because he has done it. That's the kind of sentiment that stays. So, it's no longer an issue, but it forms a backdrop to all the decisions that you may be making. So that is the kind of assimilation of that whole thing that has happened. So it's
So
a
do you believe,
subterranean factor.
do you believe that Mr. Modi is still in pole position, Sugata?
Yes, I do. I do. I mean, it's
Shriram?
not that
Yeah.
I would like the
Yes.
opposition to do well, but then
Yeah.
he looks like he's in pole position.
Shriram?
Yeah, I think because if the opposition is the worst scenario for him is the single largest party and 30-40 short of majority. That's the worst scenario for him projected by the opposition and hoped. So he's the pole position without a doubt. Issue is the opposition hope or calculation or estimate that Modi will come down below majority, and would it be substantial enough to see a non-Modi prime minister? I don't think it's totally unfounded, but I think the hope element is greater. It's a case of
Than
what
the
Milton said, case of hope winning over experience, according to me. But
Sh-
let's see what happens.
Shugata, you had a sentence before I come to Sanjay?
I mean, the opposition has also been spinning around that even the RSS is not cooperating with Modi this time. So this is another very interesting thing. And for all those people who have been throwing that at me, I've been telling them that the RSS itself is not a very homogeneous body. And Modi has been there, lived all his life there, and he knows how to handle it. So even this whole RSS thing, I think Kumi Kapoor wrote in her diary last Sunday about the RSS factor and the cadres not coming out, not being enthusiastic, and not consulting the RSS when tickets were being given. I think this is a bit of a facetious argument.
Well, we don't know the mind of the RSS, Sanjay, but what we do know is that in states like Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, there is certainly disquiet, in particular in Madhya Pradesh, over the marginalization of Shivraj Singh Chauhan. What that's actually translating into, if anything, on the ground, we don't know. Sanjay Jha, last comments?
Barkha, let me tell you, BJP's USP for winning elections is communal polarization. BJP's entire politics is based on Hindutva. And that has not worked. Please remember, Narendra Modi's famous 370 and 400 was made when the Pran Pratishtha ceremony had happened. And unfortunately for him, as is discovered thereafter, the arrest of Arvind Kejriwal, electoral bonds, etc., have played out. I'm not going to go back to the statistics on how rural wages have been stagnant, the farmers are out on the street, the young are unemployed. If people on your panel believe these are non-issues and will eventually just fall apart, I think they are being extremely presumptuous. Good for them. I'm very happy when the opposition or the cheerleaders for Mr. Modi get complacent. My larger point is this election has become about bread and butter issues. And, look at the data on poverty, inequality, rural distress, unemployment, the devastation across the larger MSME sector of India. And I believe India is voting this time on issues. And Mr. Modi is clearly struggling. And I think it's palpable. And my sense is from the sources that I get my inputs from that you are likely to see a substantial drop in BJP's votes. Therefore, I will concede one point. Yes, of course, if you define which party will be the single largest party, the BJP will be in pole position. But that number will be close to 200 rather than the halfway mark.
Okay, but you are still at this point conceding as an opposition supporter that you believe the BJP will be the single largest party, but where will that number settle, Dr. Tyal? Okay, Dr. Tyal, आपकी बार 400 पार के बाद, if the fight is for 270, those are two very different battles, says Sanjay Jha.
No, so Sanjay Jha is only saying what he's supposed to say, and I would grant him that much. One,
I have a mind of my own.
Absolutely. And of course, I want to tell Shri Ram that it is not yet forgotten the name. It is just as an ex-congressman, saying Shri Ram becomes very difficult for him. So,
well, Barkha, I accuse both the gentlemen of your program of making fun of my dyslexia. This is brutally unfair.
Oh no, I am only laughing not because of making fun of anybody. But
I really had a high opinion that you knew how to take a joke. But nevertheless,
I did not insult. Please don't play the victim card unfairly. I could counter accuse you of being very condescending with me because I am not from
guys. Guys, now you are playing the victim card of being south of the India's. Shreya, you are playing some other victim card. कि अभी हम तो हैं southern state से, ये देखिए ये northerners, ये देखिए अभी देखिए चलिए त्याल साहब last word quickly, come on.
Couple of things. One second, sir, Dr. L, 1 second. Sanjay, in all fairness, nobody knew about it. We had no idea. But in all fairness, to you trying to say we disrespected you is not correct. With a lot of respect, I pointed out you did not remember my name. That's
okay. Chalo, let's move on. Dr. Tyal, Sanjay Kalo, let's move on. Huh.
One point in all the rhetoric which Sanjay used, he said, look at the data on poverty. I wish he had seen it. The data on poverty says 25 crore people have come out of poverty. The international organizations are saying, can I complete, Sanjay, please?
The data.
Okay, so the data is fudged, the EVMs are bad, everything is bad, so that is why they lost. So thank you for conceding.
That's the only thing that you have said in the program which is right.
Okay, stop it, guys. People on the ground don't read reports. It's about what they feel. But chaliye, complete your point, then Dilip can have the last word. Come on.
The other thing which was said that this is not, the election is not national because somewhere the Congress is trying very desperately that this should become a municipal election, which it is not. Modi ji has said, "Jo maine kiya hai, this is the trailer. There is much bigger things to be done nationally. But look, these are the points I had said, 370, etc., which I said I'll deliver. I have delivered." So it is a national election, very much no wishful thinking there. The third important saying that BJP contests on making things communal. What BJP has done, Muslims are 14.2% of our population. About 33% of Awas Yojana has gone to Muslims. So no discrimination at BJP end. The discrimination, Rahul Gandhi go all the way to Wayanad. What is so different about Wayanad suddenly? Who has the right on the resources of the country?
Okay. वायनाड भी खत्म हो गया सर, वायनाड भी खत्म हो गया, रायबरेली भी खत्म होने वाला है. Let's look ahead at what might happen in the remaining.
Last point, Barkha. When Kejriwal ji was speaking, he was asking कि BJP का PM कौन होगा, but he started with कि BJP is asking India Alliance का कौन होगा. We still don't know. I think that's
a fair point. Dilip. The fact that Rahul Gandhi accepted a debate with the Prime Minister, a proposal put forth by N. Ram, Justice Lukur, and Justice Shah, and it's a presidentializing of our elections. Sorry, Shriram, are you trying to say something while I'm trying to ask Dilip a question? Shriram, you have a sentence? No, Shriram, if you have a sentence, say it now. I'm giving Dilip the closing word. Shriram, say it now.
I would like to just say, to respond to if not Modi, who's the PM candidate? I just have a question. I don't have an answer. Is India gearing for a first Dalit Prime Minister?
So are we talking about Mr. Kharge as a surprise factor emerging? We don't know, anything can happen, but they have to have the numbers, they have to be in reckoning for that to happen. Mamta had proposed his name, Kejriwal had proposed his name when Nitish Kumar was still in the India Alliance, and now of course we saw Nitish Kumar standing some said very, very quietly with Prime Minister in Patliputra, holding the BJP symbol. I'm not sure how many of you saw those images. Dilip, last word to you.
I think we've all been rather politically correct on one substantial matter in this election, the role of the Election Commission. That and the role of EVMs, which was mentioned a little while ago. I think that there is no doubt that unfortunately the people of this country are now expecting institutions to play their role. What I said at the start of the program about the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court, I'm reiterating that in our political correctness, we should understand that besides the people of India and the politicians of India, there are other pillars of the state which will have to play their role come June 4th. And I hope that as you go on past the many dhabas of democracy, you look at some of the pillars of democracy and make sure that those pillars are also brought into the ambit of our discussions. Thank you, Barkha.
Okay, that's a fair point. We hope to have a separate program on that in the near future. Thank you very much to Sanjay Sugata, to Dhirinder Tyal, to Shriram Kari, and to Dilip Cherian. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a very, very interesting discussion. Thank you to our audience for being extremely patient with our sort of fluctuating technology. What I want to do here, because we've got so many people sitting with us, भैया थोड़ा आगे आइए ना. Before I say bye, let's maybe try and see if we can get some perspective from the people here. एक इसमें डालिए ना. आपका नाम बताइए.
प्रदीप कुमार.
अच्छा, तो यहाँ आज चुनाव हुआ ना?
हाँ जी.
तो कौन जीतने वाले हैं यहाँ पे?
नरेंद्र मोदी.
नरेंद्र मोदी. और ये आप ही के जिले में जीतने वाले हैं कि बीजेपी पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश में जीतने वाले हैं?
उत्तर प्रदेश.
अच्छा, ये बताइए आपको मोदी जी ज्यादा पसंद, मतलब मोदी जी के लिए वोट डालती है कि योगी जी के लिए?
योगी के लिए.
मोदी की योगी?
मोदी.
मोदी की योगी. हाँ मतलब दोनों लोग. अच्छा, मोदी जी और बीजेपी की सरकार के बारे में क्या पसंद है?
हर चीज पसंद है. गुंडागर्दी उनसे कम होती है, हर काम उनसे मतलब सही होता है.
अच्छा.
हाँ जी.
अच्छा, और यहाँ जो बच्चे हैं, इधर आओ ना, सब बच्चे इधर आ जाओ. इधर आ जाओ, इधर आ जाओ. इतना जो मेरे पीछे तो बैठे थे, इनको भी 1 मिनट डालती हूँ. ये दो ना, अपना कान में डाल के अपना नाम बताओ. इसमें पहले कान में डालो. अच्छा, आप ये वाला डालो ये कान में, ये डालो. अच्छा भाई, देखो किसी को आपकी शक्ल नहीं दिख रही, आप थोड़ा सा तो उठ जाओ. अच्छा, अभी ऐसे. हाँ, आप बताओ आपका नाम क्या है?
ऋषभ.
हाँ, ऋषभ. क्या उम्र है? उम्र, एज, स्कूल में पढ़ते हो?
हाँ.
आप 8 साल की हो, 9 साल की हो, 10 साल की हो?
10 साल.
हाँ, 10 साल. क्या बनना चाहते हो बड़े होके? Police. So Rishabh here wants to be a police officer. Just wanted to bring you some voices from the ground. यहाँ से हम इस सब लोगों को जो बहुत इन्होंने हमें जगह दी अपने गांव में, आप सबको धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं. आपसे बातचीत जारी रहेगी. For now, saying bye bye कर दीजिए हमारे ऑडियंस को. ऋषभ, नमस्ते. Bye bye. Thank you for watching and join us tomorrow from another part of India. Namaste everybody. सब bye bye कर दो भाई. सब bye bye कर दो, है ना? Thank you. Bye. We're at the Indian mainland's southernmost tip in Kanyakumari, the confluence of the Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean. It is from here that we're beginning our big road trip to the heart and the soul of India, Dhabas of democracy. That's all about traveling thousands of kilometers to look at the food, the fun, the festivity, the flavors of this election, but also, of course, to tell the stories of you, the people, of we, the people. At Mojo Story, we have always gone to where the story is. It could be the battlefields of Israel and Gaza, it could be the conflict zone of Manipur, or it could be the sorrow and the tragedy of COVID. We think of all of you as members of our community, of our family. So, I'm urging you and requesting you today to help us tell your stories and our stories. So do become a Mojo member. Support and power our storytelling, but also get first access to our big interviews, our special ground reports, our town halls, and also have the opportunity to ask our newsmakers questions directly, as well as get published on our platform. Become a Mojo member, click on the link below, and see you soon.